Let's go. Welcome in. Let's go.
What up, what up, what up? Live from the 856. This is channel 856. It's your boy Danny X.
Yes, sir. It's Jared back at you. Week 7. We with it. I'm with it. You with it. He with it.
You already know. You already know. Welcome back. Welcome back to episode 3. Shout out King as always. Shout out CP as always. Shout out the boys, the man them. So, yeah. Yeah, no, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, yeah, league standings, as you can see, they are going to be right here. So, yeah, I'm feeling good. We tied for second. We out here, doing our thing, doing our thug thizzle. So, we right where we supposed to be. Yo, I won't say something like it's really weird. I don't know if y'all peeped like the points for, and I saw that my points for is 666.66, and I was like, yo, like I can't wait for this week. Like that's a bad omen. Like I need to get off of that. So I ain't putting no juju out. I mean, I guess it's only bad luck for myself. But anyway, yeah, no, we out here. We going, we grinding. King is currently in first. He does hold the tiebreaker of 4-2s. So yeah, everybody's we're in a good spot right now. So everything's going right. So how we feeling, Jared?
Every week, I'm just trying to go 1-0 for real. Like that's how I look at it for real.
Yeah.
1-0 every week. Don't try to do too much.
Yeah.
But I definitely had a nice comeback, so it felt good to sneak one out.
Yeah, I had to put belt to ass to Guru. Yeah, it's bad. Got real ugly for my boy. So it could have got worse if I started Romeo, but I definitely went crazy in chat because I've never beaten him, so I was definitely hype. I was talking about that last week, and definitely was pretty pumped up about that win. Especially with just how my season went last year, just being 4-2, just right in the ship, being a 2 games over 500, going into a week that could be pivotal for everybody. Wins or losses, can separate the top from the bottom and the middle of the pack. So I'm very excited about where I stand. Yeah, and everything's looking pretty solid. So yeah, as you guys you can see the standings. Yeah, pretty busy week in the league for sure.
I like that.
Pretty busy week in the league. Had some trades, obviously some trades in the NFL as well. Some
Yes,
close to heart.
sir.
So, unfortunate as some of those may be, and we'll get into that. Yeah, and let's talk about week 6 a little bit. Do our weekly recap of the week prior. So, any games stand out to you? Obviously, your boys lost a tough one on Monday night. We were talking about that before we started recording. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, my team.
We're 2-4.
Yeah, I mean we're 2-4 as well. My team got their ass
Nonsense.
kicked. So, yeah, tell me about any games. Obviously the Eagles got an ugly win. Texans dominating the Patriots. Bucks dominating the Saints, putting up hanging 51 on them. Baker Mayfield is currently the number 1 quarterback on our app as far as what we use. Not saying their name because we don't have any sponsorships yet. So if you want to sponsor us, I'll say your name. Anyway, we get to that point. But yeah, so he is the number 1 rated quarterback in fantasy right now. He is balling. Colts winning a tight one. Joe Flacco is still Joe Flacco, and you pretty much called that last week, and we talked about how successful he's been and how he's came in for A-Rich. I'm very thankful that I did not keep him in the 10th round. So glad I got Amon-Ra. And yeah, Falcons obviously big win. Bengals had a ugly one, got it out against the Giants. Yeah, so any games specifically for you?
Nah, that Bucks Saints was crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was really entertaining. I thought it definitely exceeded expectations. And anytime somebody scores 50, it was damn near it was crazy. So
Yeah, 100%.
I thought that was wild. Who was it? The Cowboys. It's always
Bless you.
wild watching them get worked, but they got really
Yeah, it was
outworked, and it was
bad.
embarrassing because they was really doing it on purpose too. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yep.
But sad and disappointingly, the Jets Bills was hella entertaining, but hella also just enraging with the flags.
Yeah.
So, but actual football wise, it was pretty decent. Cool game, cool little game. Josh Allen was hooping. He
Yeah.
had definitely one of the better games he's had versus the Jets. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean that one play where he rolled out, you think Quinnen's about to get him down, and he throws that ball out to Ray Davis, making a you know adjustment on the play and getting that catch downfield. He was pretty dialed in. It's looking like every year you always see him in the MVP conversation, but you never know if he's gonna squeak it out and how it goes. But he's looking pretty dialed in right now. Obviously there's Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. You know, some people even looking at like Brock Purdy and things like that. So, we'll see how everything shakes out. But yeah, I mean, the league's been pretty pretty hectic. I mean, not hectic, I would say, but just it's just like more so just like it's a lot of smoke right now. Obviously, it's the same rivalry smoke. Kemis and Chris, and now Scoops obviously coming off a victory over Chris. So he's definitely handing out humble pie this week, and definitely making sure he understands what happens, and maybe we can throw a screenshot in the chat from the chat, but they just obviously going at it, and all in good fun. But it's been good. I definitely was turned up with Guru, and let him make sure he knew that he lost for sure. But yeah, like anything stand out from like anything in the chat this week too?
Not really. That's off the top, but I will say it's really gonna get shaky because like when certain people lose, like they just go missing. So like it's gonna get funny when like certain people just in last place or they miss the playoffs or
Yep.
that's what I'm really waiting on. Like them
Yeah.
kind of weeks. So nothing that really caught me this week. But it'll be funny though too though. Chris and Kevis do be funny.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, I don't know if you wanted to pull up the trades, but we can start with that. We can talk about the, obviously a couple trades going on around the league. So, yeah, which one do you want to start with? Which one do you want to start with? We can go. You want to start with our league, or do you want to, go with
Let's start
the
with our
NFL
league.
first?
The Devontae for Kenneth Walker. I thought that
Yeah.
prior to the Jets news, I thought
Trade
that was,
right here.
I thought it was suspect prior to the news because we don't know what happened if
Yeah.
he's injured, if he's staying going. But once it got wrapped up, oh yeah, it looks good now. So yeah, seemed like a nice little 1-for-1.
Yeah.
The only thing for me, if I would have seen somebody and they running back got 0, oh yeah, I'm making you bleed or starve at that point. It's either I got to come up with the best player in the deal, that kind of deal. But it was like even, you know what I mean? So that's why I was like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I would have taxed.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Yeah, no, it seemed pretty even. Especially because you don't know. It's a question mark at that point when they make the trade. But,
It's Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers.
but yeah,
There's no
but
question mark.
none now, no now, absolutely not. So, I don't know if King gonna try and talk to
Yo,
CP,
as
try and
he
get that
should.
stack.
As he should.
But obviously Amari Cooper's around, so it would make sense. Never know when it
As he
happens.
should.
But yeah, so that trade went down. I do like that trade. I think obviously Keenum Senior, the running back, fills a void for him, makes his team stronger, a little bit more solid. He was always receiver heavy, whether it's with Kelsey or Hill. So it definitely gives him that balance out with the running back, and obviously for CP getting Devontae Adams coming fresh off the trade, getting his boy A-Rod back. So that'll obviously pan out. We'll see Sunday night when they debut. But yeah, no, I think that was a good trade. On to the next trade. What was the other trade that happened this week? There was a second one, right? Or was that just the one trade?
Quinn traded
yes.
Pat
Mahomes and J-Mo.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
For
Baker Mayfield.
And
And Isaiah
Likely.
Likely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Baker. I ain't lying. He fished.
Yeah. How do you feel about that trade? Yeah. Like, what are your thoughts when you saw that trade?
Likely, I feel like this year is definitely weekly. You have to start him just because you
Yeah.
don't know when his blowout week is coming. He proved
Fifth ranked tight end in our league right now.
Yeah.
According to the app.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Balling.
I know week 1 was crazy, but he has that potential still. So I feel like what I mean. You gotta start him because he's gonna have a game too where he has like 6 for 70 and a touchdown or whatever. So
yeah,
he's smooth. I like him.
Baker's
absolutely. Just. Ooh, we're gonna get into Baker later though. But I like Baker. He's been last year and this year. He's definitely coming through for the Bucks.
Balling for sure. Now I like the trade as well because now King obviously has the stack. Him and C. Godwin. He's been balling. That touchdown he had was insane. Really got upfield and really kicked up to get
Somebody
to
just didn't tackle.
Yeah, for sure. And it gives him the stack. Gives him the tight end. Sturdy tight end. Who was your tight end prior? Jake Ferguson. So he's on the bye. So that gives you even more sturdy.
I was about to go into the waiver.
Yeah, for sure. Would you ever consider playing them like double tight end flex? Never. It's not bad. Those are two. Definitely if you have the elite tight ends, it definitely could work. Yeah. Might be. So yeah, no, I think 2 strong trades. Obviously when good trades happen in the league, there's not much the noise and dust up, but when the cahoots and trades, and obviously there's still rumblings of the Stephon Diggs JSN. Considering what I don't think we've talked about JSN besides the trade because he hasn't really been seen or heard of.
Receiver 3.
Yeah, but and then Stephon Diggs is continuing to ball. Has he scored in every week?
Dude, he's like wide receiver 6.
Yeah,
like, he's good to go.
Yeah, locked and loaded for sure. So, yeah, no. So those are our league's trades. Comment below if you want to, let us know what you think of those trades, how you traded in your league maybe this week. Let us know how you guys feel about that. And yeah, we can, evaluate and see what we, maybe what you would have did. Maybe we can show you the rosters and see what they had. When we, show the trades as well. So on to the NFL. So I believe there's 3 trades this week. Devontae going to the Jets.
Yes, sir.
So obviously, as you know, those are our teams. So, congratulations getting Tay. It's tough. But obviously the writing was on the wall. It makes sense. And, you guys all know as being football followers, it's they've been balling together since 2014 and having the chance to do that now, and Tay's still in good shape. He'll be turning 31 in December. So, obviously utilizing his high level ability still. It'll be good for you guys, and it obviously gives you a chance. When you can be able to spin back on the Bills and continue to keep pushing forward in the division. And like you said before we started shooting, can't go 2-5. You can't be sink and swim in October. It can't be season on the line.
It's already that. You can't lose. That's what it is already at 2-4. October, what is it? 16th.
Yep, 16.
This is going on year potentially 15 of playoffs. No playoffs. Like this is just again insane. It's just a cycle of just. Vicious cycle of just repeated nonsense, just repeated clown show
But now let's talk more about how this can obviously strengthen your team. Gives him another familiar weapon to add to Lazard.
Does he kick?
Yeah.
Does he block?
Who?
Devontae.
Oh, absolutely.
No, does he kick the field goals? Does he block? Because that's what we need. We need that. We need people left tackles who aren't false starting and offsides and who don't want to block and all kind of junk. So
yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. We get a conditional third. I'm pretty sure if he goes all pro or y'all go to the AFC title game,
At that point,
it turns into a 2. So I'm just like, okay, I mean,
yo, that's fine with us.
Yeah.
That's fine on both ends.
yeah,
Fine, fine,
100%.
sure.
So we'll definitely take a 2 out of that. A lot of talent coming into this draft class. It'll definitely help us, and with the addition of TB12 in the front office, hopefully making some talent, helping with talent acquisition and scouting and evaluating talent. So hopefully that can get us the right QB to form and build with AP and moving forward in the future. Yeah, I mean, if AP remains our coach, but that remains to be said. Moving on to Amari Cooper to the Bills.
I like that. I kind of think he's been not undervalued because he has a lot of air yards and targets in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I just think he'll actually have like a decent quarterback throwing him the ball. Good, well, Kevin Stefanski I like, but I think have a good chance at getting loose and kind of those Amari Cooper blow up weeks.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. No, King, you have Amari Cooper. He definitely became way more valuable. I'm sure you've been talking with people about his leveraging some potential trades and maybe dealing and shaking or you keep him. Obviously, there's a lot of upside. He can definitely provide as a good piece. Being Josh Allen's number one, he's a great route runner. Hopefully, I know his drops have been a little bit more recent in his last couple of years, but the quarterback has also been a little bit sus in the last couple of years, so not gonna always put that on him. But nonetheless, if you drive a drop is a drop, hitting your hands it's a drop. I wasn't a wide receiver, but I'm sure King and others can attest to that. Any wide receivers that played, but yeah, I think it's a good trade for them. How do you feel about it? What do you think as far as Amari Cooper going to the Bills?
Well, I don't like it because we play against him another
true.
week. But for their team, yeah, they definitely. I'll be honest. Like heading into this year, that was my only hesitation about Josh Allen having that superhero effect. Like where it's like the kind of like Cam Newton, where you didn't really have a good receiver or number one truly. You just had ancillary pieces.
Talent, yeah.
So I figure now they have somebody. I'd say at least in fantasy, I'd say he probably jumps into a high end flex. High-end wide receiver, or maybe I'd say maybe a back-end wide receiver 2, really strong wide receiver 3, but I'd have to kind of see it maybe a couple games first. But off projections, that's kind of how I'm viewing him, like a just under maybe Terry McLaurin.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, I like.
I'd say
Drake London maybe a little lower.
Drake London he's fish grease.
Yeah,
he's booming right now.
Yeah, okay, fair.
I'd say like just under.
What would you say, like
maybe around Devontae Smith, maybe around Terry McLaurin. Ayuk, he's way over right now, so it's like I'd say a strong like wide receiver, like 27, 26, 29.
Josh Downs.
Higher. I'm thinking again somewhere like
let
me think. Let me look at my rankings here.
Yeah. Rankings here.
Let me see. I'm gonna give you a good kind of. Let me think. So on this week, there's a couple people out from the Cowboys and Bears, which kind of move things around. But I'd say I'm about to say Devontae Smith, just around like Devontae Smith, like a wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
Somewhere who's you're gonna get most weeks production, but there's gonna have to take maybe. It's going to be a little bit of production dip. You might face a tougher corner, things like that now in Buffalo as well. But he's used to it. He's the number one, so.
Absolutely. And then the final one is Cam Akers going to the Vikings.
Oh, God. This is the second back-to-back year that, like.
Yeah.
I don't understand. If the Vikings like him so much and they trade him, why not keep him on your team?
First time, yeah.
I just don't understand. The guy that I just like. This makes no sense.
Especially if it's supposed to be a compliment, like it's not a substitute, because obviously you have Aaron Jones. So, if you were going to just have him as your backup the whole way and then you go sign him, I'm pretty sure that makes life a little bit easier as far as your running back tree. Ty Chandler, I'm guessing, is turning into just solely special teams and not really getting much production out of his, running anyway. So
that might be a signal to Aaron Jones' health, too. So, I mean, if you have an Aaron Jones, that's something to monitor because their team just traded for a running back.
Yep.
So that's interesting, we'll say at least.
Yeah, no, most definitely, most definitely, most definitely. So, um, yeah, on to week 7 waivers.
Speaking of teams,
Yeah,
nah, I think there's like, for us specifically, I think there's a couple names that kind of come into play for us. Waivers still. If you haven't gotten a chance, I definitely figure, depending on your league size, for me, quarterbacks, we'll start with that.
yep,
Geno, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams, those to me, those names stick out if they're still hanging around. I would definitely look, especially if you need a bye week starter, Derek Carr, Tua, those kind of players. Even if you want to replace them while they're injured and just have an upgrade on your bench,
yep,
definitely I would snag them 3. But deep cut, we're gonna dive into some. We're gonna show some rookies some love. I'm liking what I saw from Drake May. I don't think he panicked at all. I thought he played well, and I thought he hung tough and put up 3 touchdowns. So I say he's worth an ad, especially
yeah,
playing the Jags. And Bo Nix, man, 20, back-to-back 20-point games. And who guessed it? He's also part running back, 37 carries, 180 yards over the season, 3 touchdowns, good for 4.9 yards per carry.
yeah. No, for
Like
sure.
yo,
Yeah,
like
it's
seriously,
solid.
like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah.
bro, he's like part running back, like
Yeah, no, he's
so.
balling. He's balling. As much as I hate to say, especially him going to Oregon and being in my division, he's balling for sure.
I feel like it's the arrow's pointing up for him, and I feel like he's only getting better. And I'll be honest, I didn't believe in him when he got drafted. A lot of people who was laughing at him. So
Yeah.
I'm sure his team is starting to get inspired and probably playing right behind him. So he's gonna keep moving chains along. He beat the Jets. He beat the Bucks. He beat, he just lost to the Chargers, but I like what I saw from the kid. He got that it. Like he got that Tebow. Like
Yeah.
he might not be the best, but he's gonna do what it needs to be done, make some plays.
How do you feel, given what you said about Drake May and even being in London, this is his second week going, like, do you think the London thing shakes him up, especially just trying to get his feet wet in America, obviously. So, how do you think he fares, and do you think that it keeps him, does it affect his game at all, or do you think he just come out and still have a strong performance?
Doug Peterson and anything related to the Jaguars are Swiss cheese. They're Swiss cheese. Like
Yeah.
I would start anything, no matter what you got versus them, and I would just say you got to show me. So if there's one game where I feel like for him to be kind of get his feet wet in the NFL, that's a game where I say, hey, things could maybe possibly start to slow down for him. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, on to running backs. So Sean Tucker, definitely has a week 6 role turning up from this past week, and he was definitely getting the ball, making the most of it. Obviously, they put up 51 points. Their touchdowns were definitely going around in NOLA, so he was definitely having an impact, and he was able to show it and able to score and help with that lead. So he definitely looks good. Tyrone Tracy, back-to-back 100-yard scrimmage games, trending up. Even with the motor back, like, I think it's a good look too, because I obviously have Devin Singletary, so I wish I was able to grab him, but obviously Guru has him, so I don't have the luxury of trying to get him. But it's not worth the trade. If it was off the waiver, I would definitely be in the mix, because I have the number 1 waiver spot. So I've definitely been trying to, like, hold on to it to see what, like, I haven't had a real need for it yet. I got healthier. Bench is a little tough, but got starters for now. J Love hasn't had his bye week or anything like that, and Amon Ra already did. I believe. I think this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Lions already had theirs. So, yeah, and then anybody from the running backs as well that sticks out to you. Algier, Ray Davis. I see you have here.
I'm feeling for real. I know this week might be a little bit tougher, but I like Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah.
Eye test, he got a gear
Yeah.
that, like, I don't think Singletary is able to hit when
Yep.
it comes to speed. Power wise, I didn't see much that I'm like, I can kind of vouch for, but I thought in space, because he's like a converted receiver.
Yeah.
So he's quick, and yeah, he's been running hard. He got back-to-back games, 100 scrimmage yards. So I thought he's somebody, if I'm Dayball, which I'm sure he's going to start using going forward. I think for me too, kind of the same thing. Ray Davis. You kind of look at the performance. He stepped in on a, probably late notice. I think he got ruled inactive hour or two before the game.
Yeah.
And he filled in admirably. Like I feel like as a coach, like if you got that kind of production, next week I've got to kind of look your way again. So I think maybe going forward, especially if James Cook, maybe gets a reduction in his workload. I think he has turf toe.
Yeah.
So I look at that, and then just on the injury tip, the Bull Garendo. I think with Jordan Mason, it could be 50-50. I will not believe another word out of Kyle Shanahan's mouth. I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. He be lying. It used to be Pete Carroll. Used to be number one culprit, just lying. Like,
Yeah.
But Shanahan and then McVay, they just, I don't know what's up. Maybe it's that division, but I don't know. I get the competitive edge, but I will not take what they say.
Nah,
You're not
I'm
maniacing over there.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to go into wide receivers?
There's one I really like this week, Alan Lazard. But with the Devontae Adams news, I thought it put a damper on that one. So that one, I will say, in a deeper league, maybe still look his way. You know what I mean? If you're playing with over 12 teams, and you're looking at like a flex or maybe a bench receiver, oh yeah, he should be fine in those kind of standard those formats. But maybe in a more centralized league, more competitive league, I think that definitely puts a hamper. If you're dealing with maybe severe injuries or bye weeks, he could still turn his way again. I like Lazard because he had 40 targets through 6 weeks, 8 red zone targets. Truthfully, we're going to touch on him a bit later, but I thought he was very undervalued, and he just plays a great role with the Jets. He has the connection with Rodgers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh Downs is someone I look at too. Last 3 games, he's got 10 targets in 2 of the last 3. He's averaging 8 targets, 72 yards. If he's on waivers, I think you got to hurry up and pick him up.
He's a beast, bro.
He's very smooth too. The first drive of that Colts game, he got the 22-yard. It looks like it was a wheel route. He just kind of got up the field and got loose. So he looks good. And if you play in leagues where you start someone that like Josh Downs returns punts, so if you start someone that has that eligibility to receive a touchdown in that kind of miscellaneous, sneakily, you never know. That can definitely turn the tide of the week there.
No, most definitely. Yeah, and I see you got Tyler Lockett. His targets have been uptaking the last 2 weeks. He had 14 targets, and definitely want to look at Zay Jones and Michael Wilson. I lean Michael Wilson definitely with the Harrison. I think he's got a good build. I think he always finds a way to get open. He's not really dropping the ball too much. I think he creates enough space to always get in the end zone. I feel like he's if Kyler's not looking at Marvin, he's looking at Michael Wilson. I feel like so. Zay's sturdy. Zay was a former Raider. He is sturdy. But I think Michael Wilson is a good play.
I thought definitely, especially if Marvin Harrison misses, those two are some I would definitely consider for sure.
Yeah. On the tight ends, we got Hunter Henry here, versus Jacksonville. Komet 2 TDs scored last week in week 6, so definitely an uptick for him. Like you were saying, we were talking with Drake May, so that's a good point. Second most targets on the team, red zone target each game besides week 3. So good pull from you on that one. Jacksonville allowing the most points to a quarterback and the third most to a tight end. So
they're dog water over there. I'll be honest. Jacksonville, Seattle, Cincinnati, some of these defenses are just automatic starts where you just fire them up with confidence. So
yeah, absolutely. Got K. Dot in here. You got touchdown in week 6.
I'm liking this one.
Yeah, last 4 games, 27 targets, 18 for 158 in the tub, 6 or more targets last 3 or 4. So yeah, it's definitely a good spot. It's good to play, and especially having the number 1 quarterback in fantasy right now with Maker Bayfield.
Dude, he's been I think that's the one where he's been one of the most eye-opening fantasy starts this season. But sometimes you just need a branch on that tree, and I think K-Dot and good play, sneaky play.
And I actually just the last one you had listed here, I actually picked up Zach Ertz just in case I needed an Evan Ingram safety blanket. He actually came in and had 100+ yards, so he was very sturdy. Didn't score, but had I think it was like 13 for 108 or something like that. So, or no, I had 13 points. I think it was like 10 for 108, but nonetheless, he was sturdy, came back, and I think that's the one bright spot, right? Like with Tank Bigsby in that offense, but nonetheless, Zach Ertz 1 game under 4 targets, averaging 5 targets a week. So in PPR leagues, anybody in a PPR league, if you're looking for a tight end, it's getting to that point in the season. Sneaks up on you, especially you're not ever thinking about your tight end unless you gotta find another one to play or anything like that. So definitely could sneak up on you, and yeah, look his way. I did, for my team. So, and then defenses. If you want to elaborate on what you were just saying on who to fire up, but yeah,
Well, I will say that if I had to give some objective credit to Jacksonville, they're already over there, and they've had a week of over there. So I'm sure they're looking at
Yeah.
that Patriots tape and kind of looking, and they've already been there traveling and adjusted to the time difference.
Yep.
But that's the only thing I like about it. This Jaguars team is I don't know what it is, whether it's talent, but they're just not playing well. They're not coached well. Fire them up against. I say fire the Patriots up because I think they might get a turnover or two, maybe get a pick. Them London games, it's ugly over there. So
yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
got Indy versus Miami is another deep pull for me on defense. I don't really like the options this week, but I will say you kind of just got to attack the quarterbacks for
Yeah.
me. And Brett Hundley, I don't think Miami's averaged over 10 points their last 3 games. So that's an offense where they might be they might be due, but I have to see it from them. There might be room for maybe some sacks or turnovers, but all it takes is a play. So I think they can maybe hold them to maybe less than 20 points too. So
Yep. Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
then Cincy versus Cleveland, the gift that keeps giving. Anybody that plays the Browns, I feel like realistically has a good day defensively. For fantasy, I know I did actually play the Eagles versus the Browns last week, and I was underwhelmed. They didn't have a turnover. They dropped a pick, but they had 5 sacks. So I think maybe Cincy, they got who was that? Sam Hubbard over there. Good, very strong pass rusher. Maybe they can get home a few times. Maybe a strip sack, or hopefully maybe they can not run into each other for an interception.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, I like all three of those. I think those are good plays, especially just trying to, at this point, you're just trying to exploit, right, fantasy matchups. You're trying to exploit, can't afford any, you know, weeks off at this point. Like we were talking about in the beginning of the show, you want to, the league's starting to separate themselves, so you want to make sure you're tapped in, locked in. So, yeah, on to full rankings. So we can go into week 7. Obviously we got Lamar at the top. Top dog. Ravens are rolling. They're playing, phenomenal football. I mean, the way they're running the ball is, I think it's like 200 plus on the ground every game, over 220. It's pretty impressive. They got the Buccaneers on Monday night down in Tampa, so Lamar will be close to the crib. Definitely know that'll juice him up a little bit. And
Oh yeah, it's in Florida.
yeah. So Bucks are obviously how we've been talking about number one quarterback Baker Mayfield, fantasy wise. So Lamar's definitely our top dog, and then to round out the top 5, we got Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield again, and Josh Allen. So that is our top 5 for our quarterbacks. Jared, anybody outside of the top 5 that stands out to you that you have listed for your rankings?
This week I'm gonna shock some people.
These are his rankings too. Like, no, don't sleep. Like, we're not just like pulling something from, ESPN or Yahoo or nothing like that. This is his rankings, so don't sleep.
They're definitely my
Like,
rankings.
don't sleep. Like, he does his
Um,
research. He's doing his thing with the analytics and research with fantasy football. So don't sleep.
This week, I'll be honest. So I do like Kirk Cousins a bunch. I actually would play him over big names like Jordan Love,
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'm actually taking Drake May over those same big names this week. Where I say if I had to go true upside with rushing included, like I said, there's defenses where I'm willing to attack Seattle. I don't think they've shown anything this year about stopping any team. The
Yeah.
Giants were able to move and put up points with backup running backs.
Yeah, in their house.
And literally, so I haven't seen anything from Seattle, so I really like Kirk Cousins as a sleeper this week. But Drake May. I say if you're in the bind and you're able to, I say fire him up. I don't see how he doesn't get 20 points versus the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I think his receivers. That's the only thing I will say. If they can maybe make a play or two for him, but he looked good. He had a couple good throws. But for me, Mahomes, somebody I think this week I don't see true upside. Maybe there's room for plays, but just like the Super Bowl, that game is going to be won by the better defensive team. So him, I think the Texans and the Packers game surprisingly will be low scoring. I think it will be a nice defensive showing. But Jordan Love too, I think he's also proven that he can get it done in garbage time or with some turnovers. So I do like him.
Still get you a 30 ball with 2 picks. So.
It might just take some extra garbage time.
Oh no, it's always like a sack or like a fumble. Like it's always something extra with it too. But I've been watching a lot of Packers games this season, so that Texans one's gonna be definitely fun to watch. But it's in Lambeau, very cold versus Texans being in Houston. So we'll see how C.J. Stroud and the boys, follow up and see if they can, move to 5-1 or 6-1. Excuse me. I see you got my boy Derrick Henry. All hail King Henry. He's definitely been the staple of my team, no question, untouchable. Unless you're giving me 2 superstars, I'm not talking Derrick Henry. I need 2 superstars because he's giving you 25 plus at this point a week. Like just
he hasn't not scored.
Yeah, so I got it's pretty easy. So, yeah, if you want to go through the top 5, and then I can tell you who I think.
That's easy work. I'm seeing like the top, I will go top 5 on the week, but there's a few names where you just have to fire up. I feel like Henry, Saquon, Kyron, Kenneth Walker, and I'd say Jonathan Taylor. Those to me, you just have to play, right? But this week, I actually really like Chuba. I like Chuba this week. I'm a big fan of Tony Pollard, surprisingly, this week. And I'm actually going to say maybe in a tougher match or easier matchup, hopefully, Brian Robinson coming off an injury. I'm a big fan of this week. There's a couple big names that I'm not a fan of, like Josh Jacobs. I'm not a fan of Kamara this week. I feel like if you have maybe some of those players, and I know it's probably tough to get away from, but I'd even get away from maybe a Kareem Hunt who saved the day last week.
Yeah.
The Lions duo, Monty. That's my toughest call on the week is where do I put them, right? Like the Lions are going against the toughest defense, the Vikings, and that game again obviously is going to be a defensive, nice, kind of a lower scoring game, but the Lions are hot right now. Vikings are coming off a bye week. Woo, watch out. So, I mean, those are the players you just have to temper expectations on, I feel like. But, tough matches, you can get them done.
Yeah, no question.
Is any of those, I guess, maybe you're feeling, not feeling? Or
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like I have Rachaad White. I spent a high pick on Rachaad White. Thought he could be a good RB2 to Derrick Henry. So, not to say that he's bad, but it's just like it's a beautiful mess in the backfield in Tampa, right? Like they're all productive, they're all good, like looking good. Like Bucky Irvin's like got that that old school back, right? He's like a bruiser, like he's going through, like he's hitting, like I'm going to like HB dive, like send me up the A gap, like I'm going to hit it, but it's tough, right? Because now I have to work the matchup, but then it's also like, yeah, am I going to work the matchup for 8 points? You know what I mean? Not like, you know what I mean? So it's like I want to play Rachaad White, but then it's like now I don't have him a lot of leverage with his trade value because he's good, but he just doesn't have a lot of reps because they switch him in and out, and then Baker's obviously spraying the ball. So I like his game. He's a good player, but hopefully he can get some love and stay healthy too. But as far as ones I like Chuba Hubbard. I had him last year in the league. He's a smooth runner. He always seems to get groovy, especially with Andy Dalton being able to create some sort of passing game. He can actually, have sustainable runs.
Washington's another one of those defenses where they just lost Jonathan Allen, probably their best defensive player. I know they got Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu, but man, just that helps the run game.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And then another like I was saying earlier with Singletary, like hopefully when he gets healthy, he can get the command back. But with back-to-back 100-yard scrimmage, 100-yard games from scrimmage, it's tough, right? Like how can you substitute at that point?
It's definitely tough. Like I said, those are like that's a play where I would have to be in a bind, right? So there's like Jordan Mason owners,
Yep.
there's Ramondre Stevenson owners, there's other ones like Aaron Jones, who's like you don't even know if these guys are playing. You kind of got to monitor the practice
James
reports.
Cook.
James Cook's another one, a big one. And it's like, yo, you gotta watch these players now. If any of these end up missing time, I'd fire up Tracy and kind of let him go as my flex or maybe an RB2 play. You just got to know Philadelphia's been pretty strong, and I feel like their team as a whole they can stop the run. It's just they're a team that I feel like they can't cover. So I feel like maybe they'd be in a pinch, but I wouldn't necessarily feel that great about it. You know what I mean? Again, I feel like all it takes is a play.
Yep, for sure, for sure. On to the wide receivers. You got Jettas as the number one for going into week 7,
Whew.
followed by AJ Brown. Big game from AJ Brown. A comeback, just absolutely dominating the game, and the ice out catch, just dropping in and being, it was just nasty. So you got Jettas, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, and then you got DK and my guy, Amon Ra. So, yeah, I mean, the strong, fire those guys up with confidence. Right after him is Godwin. I believe he's on the cusp of being a top 5 fantasy wide receiver at this point. Keep an eye on Neighbors, obviously, keep an eye on Harrison. Jaden Reed, I would say, I'll start with my standouts. I think he's balling.
He's nice.
I did this week. I was talking to Guru, trying to get a trade done, but I mean, at this point, he's it's tough. I have to probably give up a lot more value than I would like. So from the running back position, so I mean, maybe we can make it happen, maybe not, but it would be good for me in the stack if I, can get a postseason, make a postseason push. But we'll see how that plays out. How do you feel about any wide receivers? Now, I'll ask you a question actually. So obviously with Devontae being on the field, they don't have much time, but it's A-Rod and Devontae that the playbook doesn't need to be written for that, right? So you still have Garrett Wilson pretty high above guys like Diggs, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, J-Mo. So do you obviously think he maintains some value?
So Aaron Rodgers throws the ball 30 times. How many is going Garrett Wilson?
For now?
Tomorrow.
7.
No, I'd say at least 10.
10?
10 is going to Devontae. If he's going to get snapped.
Oh, you're saying Devontae, yeah, 10.
No, I'm saying 10 to both. Like, it'd be 10 to both.
10 piece, okay.
There might be 3 or 4 targets
For
apiece. I'd even say like the running back, maybe 3 or 4 between the two. And then I'd say the rest would be Lazard. Mike Williams, I think he lost his spot. And this wide receiver room, we'll call it.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be a fun. Like our tight end might be getting like Tyler Conklin. He hasn't really proven much. And then you see Ruckert, he couldn't even hold on to one. What was it? Taylor Rapp had smacked him and got him out of there.
Yeah.
And on a
Play Ferk.
Facts. He was in there though. He was in there Monday. But
absolutely,
for the most part, I just like them because they know when it matters most, where they go to the ball. In the red zone, you seen Garrett Wilson. He's getting the target. So
yep,
I'm not that worried. But definitely, it's definitely a rainy day here sometimes.
Yeah. Anybody else? Zay Flowers. He's been balling.
He's one of those players I think too. This week versus the Ravens, I think this is a secondary he can get loose on. I'm not afraid to attack it, and I think too if it's high scoring, it's likely he catches one. You know what I mean? Last week he got the job done versus the Commanders, I believe, so that was a pretty easy call. But this week I'm kind of liking Deontay Johnson. I think he'll have a bigger week. He scored last week, but this week they're going against Panthers. They have the Commanders.
Yep.
So I think that's a defense again. I'm fully attacking, especially at the wide receiver position. Fire them up with confidence. And there's a couple that this week I'm not a big fan of. I know we're talking about the Texans and Packers. I think Diggs and Jair Alexander is going to be a matchup I'm looking at on Sunday. I'd be a little worried, but again, Diggs is a good player, so you gotta fire him up. But then it's also too, it's like for
Pittman,
me,
Ramsey, Pittman, Downs. I mean, not Pittman, Downs. Ramsey, Downs. Just traveling on 2 decent wide receivers.
that a little bit of that. It's
Gilmore, Amon-Ra.
I was gonna say I like Joey Porter a little bit too versus Garrett Wilson, so that's why
Yep.
it's like for me, you kind of just I like to have big on big matchups. I kind of just want it gives me more confidence week to week when I can see you get it done versus some of the best there.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, Jared. Don't look at the TV.
No, I already seen it. It is what it is.
Just
The Mets are, just gave up a 3-run home run to Ohtani here, so
yeah. Where are you?
yeah, it is what it is. We're down 7 in the top of the 8th, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, no, it's okay, man. It's okay.
Womp, womp, womp.
No, it's only game 3. You got 2 more games in
It's
Queens.
no more
so
onlys. We got to make it shake, or we got to go home and with some heartbreak.
I was low key a bar, but tight ends. You got my boy Brock Bowers, number 1 tight end.
I'm loving Brock
my
Bowers
dog.
this week.
Brock Lesnar.
Yes, I'm all in on Brock Bowers this week for the rest of the
He's
season.
a dog.
Not too sure what I like in the quarterback situation, but for target competition, it's wide open. It's Brock Bowers.
He's right. He's right. He fits right in the mold of all those hybrid tight ends that could just easily make wide receivers. He's a beast. Doesn't drop the ball. Makes crazy catches. Always getting some sort of yak after the catch. So he's a beast. Glad to have him on my team. Glad we made that draft pick. But in the volume, obviously the volume is going to come now without Devontae Adams. So Jacoby Myers has been in and out of limiteds this week. So going to be definitely a good move for him. Rounding out the top 5, we got Kittle, Kelsey, Trey McBride, and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts with the uptick. Obviously, we've been talking about Seahawks and their Swiss cheese, and obviously the production that can go on against them. We already spoke on Hunter Henry, Evan Ingram. Good play against New England. Like you said, being in England already, playing New England will be easy for them. They're already comfortable. Evan Ingram had a good week, so I'll definitely be running him back this week. So
I think his target volume too. That was really something to look at. Like his first game back too. That was a good sign for me. That's turning up. It tells me he got his role is solidified in that offense.
How we doing, Q?
Quinn.
We Gucci?
You still got 10 minutes.
All right, bet.
Okay, edit that. Cool.
Yeah.
It still says 10. Right. It says 12 actually.
Oh, okay, word. Cool.
Alright, excuse me.
Tight ends, I guess. While we're there, Hunter Henry is one of my sleepers. I probably I can't really decide between Hunter Henry or Cade Otton as my favorite sleeper, but between the two, those are my favorite. I think Hunter Henry, especially after seeing what Cole Kmet just did, literally.
I'm almost done.
Again, I don't think Jacksonville can cover, and I think Drake may, if he needs a security blanket, maybe in the red zone. The receivers haven't been Jalen Polk. He hasn't really taken off, so I can see, especially Hunter Henry being in the game plan this week heavily in the red zone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then kickers.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
I'm excited about these low key.
Nah, they been hitting. My guy Tucker. I usually get Tucker in like a lot of the leagues that I play outside of this league that we cover, but I got him in this league finally because Evan usually hoards him, right?
I feel like a lot of times he's one of the top 2 or 3 kickers. Usually the first off the board. Alex has had him. There's a few people that usually grab him. He's been solidified though because he's earned it. He's what Brandon Aubrey used to be. I feel like. You know what I mean?
Definitely. So yeah, anybody that stands out to you, your top 5, we got Boswell, we got Siebert, we got Young Wei, shout out Shannon Sharp, Young Ho, but Fairbairn and Jake Elliott.
Loving all five of them, and the reasons kind of speak to the offenses mostly. But for me, Boswell, I think that one kind of speaks more so against how bad the offense. Like it's your first time, Russell Wilson's first game of the season. I think there's some risk involved with that, but I do think, there might be some rust inefficiency there. Might add for, hypothetically too, if a short field situation, they might not be as effective in the red zone with a new quarterback. Timing
Yeah.
might not be there. So I think Boswell has a chance at putting up, a few field goal opportunities. And then also too, like I said, their defense definitely could give them a turnover or two, make things easy.
Yeah.
Seibert, oh man, I like my boy Seibert, so I'll sneak him in
Washington.
for another segment. Yeah, he's been putting up numbers on the low. Fairbairn versus Giants. I'll be honest, the Giants defense, they can do one of two things. They can either roll over, or they can show up. So in both events, I like Elliott for real. So, but maybe somebody this week too. If you don't have the big guns or the big names, I think Matt Gay versus the Dolphins, Anthony Richardson's first game back, he might not be as effective. That might be an extra field goal or two opportunity there. What I don't know. I believe that game home. Do you happen to know?
Oh, which one?
Miami and Indy.
Oh, sorry. Miami and Indy. It'll be in Indy.
Oh, good. So that's in a dome environment too.
Yep.
So that's kind of clean for me. It alleviates concerns. Jason Peters hasn't had a good season, but versus Atlanta, I think that's another player I kind of look at. And
Myers.
yeah, Jason Myers. Yeah, I definitely would. And then Will Rickard, if things get stiff between Detroit and the Vikings, I think that offense is too good not to get points. So he might have a long day himself. So it's another sleeper.
Yeah, that's probably, if not the matchup of the week, 4-1 versus the 5-0s. Obviously, not Chiefs Niners, but just obviously with the records, that game's gonna be pretty high touted. And then defenses. So top five, you got Denver versus NOLA, Buffalo versus Tennessee. Also NOLA back versus Denver, and then Minnesota versus Detroit, and Philly versus the Giants. Raiders defense all the way at the bottom. Understood.
I'll be honest. This is like picking between like what side effect would you want? Do you want diarrhea? Do you want a bloody nose? Do you want a indigestion? Like this is just, to be honest with you, one of the hardest weeks if you're in a bind. Someone like you don't have the Bears defense. Someone that's been, I think their defense number 9 or so. Someone like unfortunately that's been waiver wiring defense as well. I think this is a week where it's pivotal to kind of hit on this. Maybe get a defense that can have 8 or more. And, obvious one for me would be Denver, New Orleans. Those defenses versus each other could be good plays on a short week. But I think a stronger play, too, that might be out there on some team or some waivers is Buffalo versus Tennessee.
Yeah.
Will Levis has been the gift that keeps giving. He's not a good quarterback. So I think last week was only 1 interception. This week it could be multiple. You got to fire him up.
Yeah.
I would probably stick with this is a sleeper for me that I like, but I'd even go New England versus Jacksonville. I think that'd be a good play for me. Again, Indy versus Miami, I'm looking at off the waivers. But in a really ugly, low-scoring game too, there could be some room for turnover and error in Vegas or Rams. Max Crosby could get home. That just gives me a feel where one of those teams are kind of going to come through and make an uppercut, and it's going to be a gut punch.
I need it to be the Raiders. Need it for sure.
There's definitely room to be had for the defenses this week. Any of those you like? Any of those you would play in a bind? Any of those that just would you be worried about playing any of those defenses?
Nah, I always play I have Cleveland's defense. I'm always good with playing them because like this past week they had a scoop, blocked field goal and score. So it's I'm always down with playing them. I don't care if it's the the high powered offense or not.
Bengals,
like,
yeah.
it'll still. I think still like the Eagles got the dub, but they were still able to give me good points. So I think that they're always fighting the game. Those games are always scrappy. It's a divisional game. You never know what can happen. Myles Garrett obviously can get home. Denzel Ward can run back a pick six.
True.
So like you never know what can happen with those teams. They're pretty well coached in the special teams. So I always like Cleveland. So they could be like a sleeper. They're not really being checked out obviously with what they do on offense, but they always stay sturdy with defenses. Always seems to keep them in a game. They only lost by 4 last week, so you never really know. But yeah. So we got to do the next week. We're going to do a segment for Name That Player. So Jared is going to get a bunch of stats together, fantasy trends, how hot they were, how cold they were, and then he's going to ask me who the player is. So I'm just going to try and guess. I'm not going to know who they are, and we're going to go off top with that. So stay tuned with that for episode 4. We'll Name That Player. We'll come back with another top 5. I think we'll probably do top 5.
You want to do your Devontae segment?
Oh yeah, I was gonna do that after this.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then we can do top 5 players that you like personally like for our team. So like your personal Jet 5. I'll do my personal Raider 5. So
we can do that.
Yeah, we can go into that next week.
Let's
so
do
just
that.
some different ones. Maybe pull out some relics, and then you guys can like them in the comments and show us like some of yours. But to end the pod.
Woo!
So I will. So damn quick how this becomes a throwback. Like it becomes a throwback so fast. Like it really hurts. I just got this from wifey, and now it's a damn throwback.
Hey, yo.
Shout out to Tay. So 2 years ago, my team name was Devontae No Jodeci, not the lead singer Jodeci. Shout out Devontae from Jodeci, wherever you're at. But we had a good. I made the playoffs. I think I lost in the first round. Shout out to Gardner Minshew. I had COVID. I should have picked him up. I lost to Chris. It's a long story. I definitely could have won the championship that year because my projected points the next 2 weeks would have beat anybody that was playing. But nonetheless, should have been on point despite the COVID. I'm still gonna use that as my excuse. Whatever. I was kind of sick. Still kind of sick. Nah, whatever. Anyway, I should have been locked in. Nonetheless, I could have been 2-time champion. Anyway, shout out to Tay. This sucks. This fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Can bleep it out. But this sucks so bad. I know you wanted to be a Raider. Obviously, I'm sure you wanted to work out with DC. Didn't work out. Josh McDaniels isn't around. I think it definitely could go a lot different. It just could have been like that was a shit show in itself. So I just think the pairing obviously wasn't timely. You seemed a little grimy on the way out. It seemed like you were ready, like, oh, I got my cleats. Like, you got your Packer cleats ready and everything. It seems a little, popping up on Pat McAfee. I'm trying to mind my business at work. Everybody's clowning me, and I see, I seen a meme on X. It was the, you ever seen the one where the dog's walking limp, like his back legs are limp, and they just start walking regular?
Yeah.
So you get to, I'm sure his hammies are nice and fresh for you, buddy. So,
just
3 million, like off your back, like.
He'll need his hamstring to block and to kick and to run routes and to like everything now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jets.
I mean, shout out to Tay, shout out 1-7, shout out the dog. Good luck, but
Big time.
won't see this. We wearing my Woodson more. I got other Raider gear, so won't be wearing that. But live from the 856. This is channel 856. That is our time. We are on time, so that was perfect. So shout out King, shout out Jared. We are here. And yeah, enjoy y'all week. Good luck in y'all leagues. Who am I facing again? You,
Good luck in y'all
right?
leagues.
Yes, you. I am facing you.
Z-Boy, you know what time it is.
Yeah, I am facing you. I dethrone you. We shall see.
Keep
but
on sticking with us.
y'all
We're
be
gonna
safe.
rock out with y'all.
Yes, sir. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the noti bell, and we'll see ya.